Hello, good evening, and welcome to day 4 of the Joy Power Up with me, Ali Mortimer. I am a joy coach, and you might not know, if you're watching me for the first time, what a joy coach actually means. And what I would love for you to consider is, what is joy for you? Because that is the very question that I asked myself when I decided to run this Joy Power Up. If I fully believe, which I truly do, that joy is the catalyst, joy is the frequency, joy is the power move, joy is the one thing that has created, so much success on my own terms, that joy has been the result of aligning with love to every single area of my life, then what was joy for me? And therefore, what is joy for you? So if you want to become this super attractor for success on your own terms, if you want to create a life that you love that's full of joy, what does joy actually mean to you? And if you've been following along, you'll know that so far I've talked about the first 3 ingredients, and I often talk about it as a little bit like a cake. You've got to have the foundations of a cake, just like I believe that the foundations to my joy recipe is the eggs. Sorry, it's not the eggs. It's the butter and the sugar. And to me, that is the health of my body and the peace of my mind. And then we add the eggs in a cake. And to me, the eggs is the love, because it's the thing that holds everything together. It is the full connection. It's also a little bit of the raising agent. It's what makes everything just so delicious and delightful. And love is so important. And if you haven't been able to catch up thus far, and people keep saying to me, oh, I'm so behind, please don't worry. You're never behind. You're exactly where you're meant to be. So if you're hearing this one for the first time, maybe this is the missing ingredient that you have in the joy for your life. Or maybe this is the dial that you just need to turn up a notch. Maybe you've got the others all down to a T. Maybe you've got the health of your body. Maybe the peace of your mind is good. And maybe you have so much love in your life that you're all good. And maybe you're just here because this is the one that is going to add that joy. It's going to amplify your joy. And I believe that fully when you amplify your joy, that's when you become this hugely super attractor for everything that you've ever desired in your life, because that's been my story. So let's start with delusional dreams. And as with all of the other joy codes, where I've started with has been a question. And the question that I want to ask you today is, and I've got this soundtrack in my ear, when the minute I said it was just like, it's that soundtrack in Pretty Woman. Do you remember when she's on the balcony and it's almost just like at the end? And I think they have it at the beginning as well. And there's somebody, I think it's a homeless person pushing a trolley, and he goes, welcome to Hollywood. What's your dream? Do you remember that one? I love that movie so much. It's one of my favorites. But that's my question. What's your dream? Because he also goes on, if you go back and listen to it, he says, some dreams come true and some dreams don't. But whatever, keep on dreaming. You've got to keep on dreaming. And to me, the dream is the raising agent. It's what lifts my state. It's what lifts me. It's a little bit like the raising agent in a cake. If you didn't add any raising agent, you just have a biscuit. If you just added butter and sugar and some eggs, you just have some kind of biscuit. You need the raising agent. And to me, that is the dreams. That's what lifts me. That's what keeps me going forward. And when I ask myself, what is my definition? It was definitely that. It's this, I'm so grateful for everything that I have. I'm so grateful for the health of my body, having lost it. I'm so grateful for the peace of my mind, and I know how to get myself back into that state. And I'm so grateful for the love in my life. In some ways, those are the foundations. But also what helps me move forward is the dream. What's next? What's the vision? And so that's what I want you to consider today. What is your dream? This is your next power up. This is either the missing ingredient or it's the dial that you need to switch up if you want to amplify and amp up your joy. So many people may think that dreaming is fluff and nonsense, and that's just not the case for me. It is that visioning and it's that blueprinting. And there's a couple of quotes that I absolutely adore. And, I can't remember who said it, but it's always on my mind. And it's always the one that I come back to. Oh, the name was there. It was just there and it was gone. I'm sorry, I've forgotten who it was who said it. But he said that dreams are created twice. Oh no, that's not right. Everything is created. Sorry, I've got lost in my mind there. Everything is created twice. First in your mind and then in reality. And it's so true, isn't it? We're doing some building work on our house. That is a very, very long story. But this whole house was a dream. And we had to imagine it in our mind, and we had to blueprint it. And we've got all of the documents in all of our cupboards of how we've gone over and over and over again, those pencil drawings saying, change that and change that. And that is what we're doing here. The dreams are like the visions, the blueprints that we get to change and adapt as our life moves on. But we have to create it in our imagination first. And that is the dream. The dream is the imagination, because once we've had the dream, then we can start to create it in our reality. One of my other favorite quotes, and things that I've read once upon a time in a book, and I can't remember, I've read so many books, you can probably see all the books that I've read, and that's only half of them. But it was a beautiful quote that said, dreams are like postcards from the future, telling you what is about to happen. And I love that. It's almost like their little dreams are like your premonition of what's to come. So it's about opening yourself up and allowing yourself to dream beyond what's possible. And my theme for this year, because I love to have a theme for every single year, this year, my theme for 2025 has been delusional dreams coming true, because I felt so passionately about the fact that I have got the peace of mind, I've got the health in my body, I've got so much love in my life. I'm literally living that definition of success that I created myself. I'm loving what I do in terms of generating an income, the multiple businesses that we have, everything that we do in our life. I love it. I'm so lucky that I have been able to surround myself with people who I love to do life with and do business with. I absolutely love that. That has been absolutely with intention. I've aligned myself and collaborated and brought people into my life because I love them. And that's because I love myself enough to create this life for myself. It's only going to be me at the end of the day, living with all of these memories. So I love myself enough to give myself all of these incredible memories and not to live with regrets. So this dreaming has been really the one dial that I wanted to intentionally dial up this year by making sure that it was an absolute focus for me. So delusional dreams, I speak out loud to myself every single day when I'm walking the dog, when I'm underneath my magical redwood tree, when I see something that I love and I'm like, oh, my sacral lights up and says, yes, that's what something and I want. It's about allowing myself to dream. One of the other fun things that you can do that I have done when it comes to dreaming is I thought about what were some of my earliest dreams. And I remember so very, very clearly lying on a beach in Fiji. So James and I have been together for, goodness gracious, probably about 30 years now. So when we were traveling, we were 20 and 21, I think. 21? It was 1999 anyway, so it was a while ago. And we were in Fiji and we'd just been having kava. I don't know if you've ever heard of kava. It was meant to be a hallucinogenic, but I don't think it was. It just tasted like muddy water. It was disgusting. And we were lying next to a fire and there were shooting stars above us and we were in our early 20s. And we just started to allow ourselves to play with those dreams. It was about tickling the dream. And I imagine that James was just, typical 21-year-old, wanted fast cars and all of these wonderful things that men seem to dream about. But I was lying there dreaming of a family and children and homes and Sunday dinners and Sunday roasts and love and romance and all of these beautiful things. And I realized when I was asked that question, what were your earliest dreams and which ones of your earliest dreams are you actually living? I was like, gosh, I am actually living my dream of my 20s. And that was beautiful. So it's like, can I dare myself to dream again? Because I know that if I dream, then I know that I can also make them come true as well, because it is the blueprint for my future. And also it's about saying that I can dream once and I can change it. We can rub out the pencil lines and we can create something else, a bit like we've done with this house. It's like, can you dare to dream and allow yourself to dream and to keep dreaming? I also think back to the time dreaming was so instrumental for me when in 2016, when it felt like my whole life had been, crumbled away. And I was left there in the ashes of what was a career, what was a marriage, what was a community. And there was just me in this shell of a body. And I just remember thinking, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy again. Will I ever be happy? Can I be happy? And that was really when I first started to understand the power of manifestation. It was just this allowing myself to feel the feeling of being happy and allowing my mind to open up to paint the picture of what that might look like. And I imagined myself in this beautiful, beautiful garden. And sometimes I was sitting there lying on the grass and watching the blue sky and the clouds. And sometimes I was there dancing with the boys, and sometimes I was dancing with my friends. And I just allowed myself to revel in this dream, in this imaginary dream or reality that was in my mind. And fast forward a few months, we were looking around some houses. James has said, I've seen this wonderful house. Would you like to come and have a look at it for us to invest in? And I said, okay. And we looked around the house and I thought, yes, this is a nice house. And it felt very welcoming. But when the gentleman who used to own this house said, would you like to see the garden? I said, yes, I'd love to see the garden. And he took me through this U arch and we wandered down the steps, and it just took my breath away because I was like, oh, it's my garden. And that's when I knew that was one of the most powerful things that you could do with the dream, is to actually feel as if the dream was real. And on the back of that, I wrote a beautiful program called Manifest It. It was a few years later, and I sat underneath the beautiful magical redwood tree in the very garden. And I was like, how have I created this? I don't know. I went from that darkness to be living here in this magical place. How did I create that miracle? Answer the question. It was almost like exam question. How did you create this miracle? And I wrote the program called the Manifest It program, which is available in the Love Club. But that was the most amazing experience to go through. And I fast forward again to 2023, when a few things had crumbled away and we'd let a few things go, and we were like, right, we have to let some things go in order for us to achieve our next big dream. We had these next big visionary dreams for our life. And in order to achieve what we wanted, we had to let go of some of our current reality. And that was really quite scary for us. So we took ourselves away, and I took James. I don't think he realises how lucky sometimes he is to have me as a coach with him, but I'm also very lucky to have him as my accountant. But life had been hard, and we went down to Cornwall, and as we walked the coastlines, as we walked the coastline of the Jurassic coastline, which is just beautiful, we would talk about the dreams. And I said, okay, what are the dreams? What do we want to do? I said, James, you've always been our visionary. In human design, he's a projector, so he can see. He is, much, much more of a visionary. And I said, I need you to unlock your dreams, because I'm a generator. And for me, it's easy for me to respond, to say, yes, I want that dream, or no, I don't want that dream. So please, can you just dream and tell me what you see? Be the visionary. What do you see for us next? And he looked at me and he said, Ali, I can't dream. I don't know how to dream because I don't know how to make it happen. I can't see the plan to make it happen. And I said, James, that's not a dream. That's a goal. If you've got a plan, that's a goal. A dream is so different. A dream is when you can't possibly see. It's almost like too far away. It's tickling a dream. I like to say it's like a tickle. It's like there's just such a slight hint of a possibility that you can make it happen, but you have no idea how or when or who. The magic is in the miracle, because I have no idea, but wouldn't it be amazing if that would happen? In my wildest dreams, this is what I would love to paint. This is what it would look like. And this is how you can open up to the dream. But so many people fear dreaming because they feel a fear of the dream never actually happening. But the magic of the dream is in the magic that you don't know how. It's wouldn't it be amazing if? Wouldn't it be amazing if? Dreams have to be just that tickle. I love to call it tickling dreams. It's just like the tickle of a dream. Is there some part of you that believes it could happen? Can you take yourself? And actually, as I was listening to, who was I listening to? Kathleen Cameron. And she reminded me of the quantum physics of dreaming. And it's, how can you get yourself into that state of believing it's already done, that it's happened? A little bit like how I did as I was lying there and thinking, where will I ever be happy? Can I just imagine myself being happy, that it's done, that I am happy? Can you imagine that the dream that you're imagining is just done, and play there? Go and walk the rooms of your dream home. I love to do that. It's one of my favorite things when I wake up too early. I just allow my mind to go and I say, oh, just paint me a vision of my most beautiful home, my dream home. And it's always got those big, big picture windows overlooking the sea and the billowing curtains, and it's also open plan. And there are grandchildren everywhere. I know I'm definitely going to be a granny. There are grandchildren everywhere. My boys are there and they're introducing me to their children, my grandchildren. And I'm walking them around the house and there are images and pictures of all the places that James and I have traveled and all of the things that we've done and the books that I have written and the podcasts and the stages that I've spoken on. There's photographs of them and I'm telling them the story of my dream life. And it's just such a fun place to be. And every single day, the dream could be different. And that's okay. And that is the fun in it. That's why I say it's an energetic state lifter. It's not about holding yourself accountable to the dream. It's allowing yourself to just live in the dream just so that you can lift in the joy of it. Because often when you're living the dream in your imagination, you can often see little chinks of how it's possible, of what you need to do. And that's where the magic in it is for me. And that's how the magic happens. Because if you're always dreaming from or trying to find the next action from here, you often can't find it. But if you can lift yourself to live in the dream and know that it's done, that's when you unlock the imagination. And that's when you can start to see the chinks of the path. And that's where you get that inspired action from that you can start to take. So feeling like it's done is almost like the piece that unlocks the how. And talking about the how, often people have so many resistance to those dreams, just like James did. You know, I can't see the how, I can't see the who, I can't see the when, I can't see all of these pieces that are going to make it happen. And it's about allowing yourself to detach from that and just playing in it. You just have to believe that the small part of you is possible, to feel yourself living in that dream already. One of the biggest things that people say to me, and that I have felt as well, is that the fear of the dream not happening, or the biggest fear is that the dream actually happens. And what I realize is that dreams and fears, they're like siblings. They're like twins. What do you call them? They're not identical. They're non-identical twins, but they go together. You can't have a big dream without fear, because a dream is something you've never done before. So your natural response and psyche is going to give you all the reasons why you can't do it. And all of the reasons of why it wouldn't be good when you got it. But it's just about allowing yourself to play in that possibility and to say, come on, fear, let's do it anyway. Because why not? Why not? One of my other favorite quotes to help me with dreaming and allowing myself to literally open the doors on my dreams is to just say, if I know that this dream could potentially come true, then I don't need to worry about the how or the when or the what. I don't need to be so anxious about how it's going to happen or when. I can just open up to the possibility of the fact that it will, and I trust that it will. If that postcard has come from the future, that dream, then I know it's going to happen. And so let's go find out how it's going to happen by moving forward. I love that. The postcards from the future, the premonitions of the future are what dreams are all about. To me, dreams also help you with that pressure valve release, especially when you're stuck in your head. You know, it's a pressure relief valve of just saying the dream is one day. The dream is someday. Wouldn't it be magical if this happened? Wouldn't it be amazing any day? Maybe it's today that the dream will come true. It's the pressure release valve. It's the detachment to the dream itself, but just playing and tickling with the dream. You know, if you can create it in your mind, then you know that you can create it in your reality. But it's the belief of the dream, the potential, the possibility. It's the little tickle of excitement that makes you think, yes, that could happen. Or if I shoot for the moon, I'm going to land amongst the stars. Even if I just aim for it, that's okay. Let's go for it. You know, I love to talk about my daily delusional dreams. I go and talk to my giant redwood every day and I say, my delusional dream today would be if X happens. My delusional dream today would be if this happens this week. My delusional dream would be if this could possibly happen. And it just lifts my spirits, because it's just like, well, that's just ridiculous. I'm wondering how the universe is going to pull that one off. And it's like, if I do this, then I know that the universe will do that. You know, in 2023, when we were walking that coastline, it was just play with the dreams. Let's talk about our dreams. Let's have a dream day. I even have to grab James now every now and again and say, come on, we're so focused on reality right now. Paying the bills, paying the checks, paying the school fees, all of this. Let's lift up. Let's just take a momentary breather just to have some fun and to play, because that's what's going to bring us the joy. Because that's what means that sometimes when it's hard in the day-to-day, the dream is the escape from reality, just to give yourself that pressure release to say, there are better days coming, because I know that this is a dream that we can create, whether it takes 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, even if it's a dream that doesn't happen. Let's just enjoy the fact that we get to dream. Joy and dreaming for me it just goes hand in hand. I think back to the beginning of 2024 when we didn't really know what we were doing. We'd had this wonderful sabbatical in 23, and by the end of 2024, we were out in the Caribbean. We had the most incredible invite to go and join a friend who was out there. And I remember sitting underneath this palm tree just thinking, how on earth did this happen? And there's part magic and there's part strategy. And I think that's a beautiful recipe for all of life. You've got to be open to the magic, and you have got to take the action. And I think there's a strategy, and I think there's the energy, and it's the energy from the dreams that has helped me do the strategy, to create the strategy, to live in the action, but in such a different state of not that it's not going to happen, but just to believe that it could. And when you could believe it could happen, then that's just, let's try again. Let's keep going. I've had so many dead ends in my career. I've had so many failures or perceived failures and things that haven't go wrong. Goodness, even in being an entrepreneur, that I can't tell you how many product launches or service launches I've had that have not worked out. But it was just like, okay, let's try again. Who was it? Thomas Edison said, I think it was something like 3,000 times he did the experiment to create electricity through a light bulb. And someone said, oh, didn't you fail 2,999? He said, no. I just learned 2,999 ways to not make a light bulb. But I got there in the end, and I know 2,999 ways more than you. And I think that's just such a great way to say, look, this is what I want to create. This is what I want to do. I want to create light. Let's go and find out how we get to do that. And that's really what brings me into that energetic joy state, by allowing myself to dream and to dream bigger. One of the first books I actually read on my personal development journey was Dream Big by Tara Moore, and she was brilliant. And I love that. If you could go fast forward and meet your future self, what is the dream that she would tell you that you were going to be living? I often think about going back to my 21-year-old self lying on the beach in Fiji and saying, the dream comes true. And gosh, that makes me feel really emotional. You do have children, even though it was hard to have them. And you do go through hard times, but the dream becomes real. I would love to know what my future self is going to come back and tell me and say, everything, those seeds that you planted as dreams, those dream seeds that you planted, they grew because you believed in them and you watered them and you tended to them every single day. And I believe that that's what's helped me in the last 2 years, is to just keep dreaming, because it keeps me going. It keeps me excited. So never stop dreaming. Just like in Pretty Woman, right at the beginning, what's your dream? Keep dreaming. Some come true and some don't, but you've got to keep dreaming. So I'm going to wrap this up this evening. I hope this has given you some food for thought to go away and just think about the dreams, the delusional dreams. The more delusional you can make them, more exciting, the more fun you can play with. I've spoken about a few programs here in this live tonight. If you're interested in joining the Love Club library, as I've explained before, is Netflix, but Lifeflix. It's everything that I have learnt in the last 7 years, from leaving my corporate career to becoming an entrepreneur. It's like opening a box of chocolates and just saying, which one do I want to try now? I don't want to say it's a one-stop shop. Someone's put that in my mind, but it's how I healed from PTSD. It's how I healed from clinical depression. It's how we healed our marriage from betrayal and infidelity. It's how I moved from a corporate career into being an entrepreneur. It's everything that I've ever given a training on or written a course on. It's mindfulness. It's meditations. It's everything in there. You can go in and you can dive in and you can take whatever you like from there, whether it's the the chocolate strawberry cream or the hard caramel. There'll be something in there for you, for anyone, whether you're in darkness and you want to find some joy, or whether you have a good life but you want more on top of more on top of more. And that's the difference. It's either an ingredient that needs to go in to turn up your joy, or it's just a dial you need to switch up. And that's what I want to invite you to do. I've talked a little bit about human design as well through all of this, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, because tomorrow when I come back in and talk to you about the final ingredient, the fifth power up, this really is the one that changed everything for me. When I took the magic seriously, and I want to show you what I mean by the magic. If you're looking for a magic wand, I found it. Well, it felt like it to me, and I want to talk a little bit more about that to you. If you're looking for a magic wand, if you're looking for something that's going to radically shift your energetic state, then I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that one. I recognize that this has been a really, really fun one. This was meant to lift your spirits. This is the raising agent. This is the one that's going to make your cake rise. And tomorrow we're going to sprinkle it with a load of magic. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on day 5 of the Joy Power Up. I hope you've enjoyed this today. If this is a dial or that you want to turn up, if this is an ingredient that you want to put into your recipe, and you want to have a conversation on it, or a deeper conversation, please do come in and join us in that Telegram channel. It's open. There's some really beautiful conversations going on at the moment. It will be open until the end of next week, so until the 10th of December. I'm leaving it open so you can catch up on everything. You can watch, you can rewatch, you can come in and have a conversation about any single one of the Joy Power-Ups that we've had thus far. And I look forward to seeing you there. If you want to come in and do that, the links are in my bio, or just find me in my DMs and I will invite you in and send you all the links. Thank you for letting me talk dreams today. It really is one of my favorite topics to talk about, because it just is, I think it really is often the missing ingredient. If you want more, allow yourself to dream bigger and dream more. Lots of love. Have a lovely evening. Good night.